Good morning. This is Jason with Lighthouse Christian Camp. Would like to share a few thoughts from Scripture today. I was going over earlier this week, we talked a little bit in devotions. I shared with Psalm 66, and so it really got me thinking of some things in the past when I was younger. And so I just wanted to read some verses here in Psalm 66. It says, "Come and see the works of God. He is awesome in his doing toward the sons of men. He turned the sea into dry land. They went through the river on foot. There we will rejoice in him. He rules by his power forever. His eyes observe the nations. Do not let the rebellious exalt themselves. Oh, bless our God, you people." And I was thinking about that as I thought about that, and I looked at Scripture, and so many times in the Old Testament and New Testament, they looked back and said, this is how God was faithful. He brought us from here, and he brought us to a new point, and it showed his faithfulness. And continually, over and over in Scripture, we see God's people being brought from a place that maybe didn't look so good, but in the end, they saw his faithfulness. And so as I thought about that, when I was younger, I went on a missions trip, and one of the guys that was one of our leaders told us a story. And so he told us the story about how sometimes at the circus, when they get a baby elephant, to train this elephant to not escape and to run away, they just hammer a stake into the ground, and then they tie the elephant to this stake. And the baby elephant tries to pull and he tries to tug, but he can't remove the stake from the ground. And so that elephant learns at that point that that stake is holding him down. He just knows that there's no sense pulling, there's no sense tugging, because I know that stake has me grounded. So as that elephant grows, they continue to just tie him to a stake. The elephant is huge, and it could easily just rip the stake out of the ground. But the elephant has learned that he's grounded. And so one of the ways that I want to look at that, you could take that many different ways and use it to describe many things. But the way I want to use that today is just looking at God's faithfulness. So as you look to the past, briefly, because I don't want to get tied up in the past, right? As we look to the past and we remember, God brought me through this, God brought me through that, God brought me through this. And then the good news is we can know that he's going to bring us through whatever we're in the midst of. We may be in the midst of something that seems like, God, where are you? Or it may feel like we're in the fire being refined, which it talks about in Psalm 66. But the good news is, the great news is that God is faithful. He will always be faithful. We do not have to be concerned about his faithfulness. He is faithful. In the New Testament, in the book of Philippians, in chapter 1, verse 6, it says, "Being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ." So we can be reassured that God, he has a work for us to do. Ephesians talks about we have works to do, good works to do, because everything we do in the name of Christ, in the name of God, is a good work. So let's just remember to be reminded that he has been faithful and he will always be faithful. So in the midst of whatever you may be going through right now, in the midst of what may seem to be hard or difficult or you don't understand, really just trust and obey. Look to Jesus Christ, look to the Father, be obedient to the Spirit, and just trust and obey. God will and is always faithful in our lives. Thank you and have a great day.